Hey guys, it's Stephanie, one of the admins of the group Saving Pipples on Facebook. Um, here's my first online Pipple blog. So, I want to talk about probably the biggest issue with the dogs to date, which is the overbreeding. Um, Many of us who've been in this industry, we understand how bad it is, and there's a lot of people out there that don't really quite understand to the extremes the level that this is getting to. To give, basically a rough estimate of what goes on is, a lot of people who get these dogs feel like if they have one, they have to breed it. They want to have puppies. Their friends want to have their puppies, things like that. But the statistics are really, really scary with 80% of the dogs being put down in the United States in animal shelters being pit bulls. It's roughly one dog out of every 10 puppies stays in the same home for its entire life. That's one dog. So the other 9 puppies are going either from home to home, they're becoming strays, they're ending up in shelters, they're being put to sleep, things like that. Statistics say that 8 out of every 10 puppies will eventually at one point in their life end up in a shelter. And most of us know that dogs that end up in shelters, especially pit bulls, rarely make it out. Luckily, we work with a big, wonderful group of people over at the Saving Pit Bulls group on Facebook, as well as outside of that, who are working really, really hard to pull these dogs out of shelters. And I know a lot of you out there who want pit bulls are really specific. You want a puppy, or you want one that has to be blue or tricolored or red or brindle or whatever. And you think that you can't find one of those in the shelter. You can't find the age you want. You can't find the color you want. Well, first of all, what you have to look at when you're adopting a dog is you have to make sure you get a dog that's going to fit you, that you have the time for, that you're able to handle. If you can't handle a puppy, sometimes an older dog is better. But if you don't understand how to deal with the breed, that is also something that you have to take into account, because the pit bull is a working class dog. That being said, they need a lot of energy, exercise. They have a lot of energy. They can't just be holed up in an apartment or a house all day long, or else they can become very destructive dogs. Now, as far as the colors, the ages, things like that, personally, I network and look through hundreds of dogs a week, and I can tell you I've seen every color, every age, all over this country. So don't ever think that you can't find what you want at a rescue or a shelter, because it's just an excuse. When you support these people who are breeding dogs in their backyard who don't understand what proper breeding is, they just throw any 2 dogs together and have puppies, you're adding to the problem. Yes, the puppies may only cost $50. Yes, the puppies may be cute, but there's things going on that somebody who's uneducated, doesn't understand the seriousness of the situation, doesn't realize. These backyard breeders are creating so many litters, they're clogging up shelters. There's not enough rescues to pull all these dogs out, and every single day these dogs are dying. It's very, very hard. If you walk through the halls of any animal shelter in this country, you'll see at least one pit bull. Inner city, probably more than 50% pit bulls. It's really terrible. It's really sad. And these dogs, they never did anything wrong. They just were the breed of a pit bull, and it's really, really sad. So the importance of rescuing a dog and stopping this breeding is bigger than I could ever, ever, ever enforce. The pit bulls themselves are amazing dogs. Anybody who's ever owned one and has taken care of it properly knows this. They make amazing companions. They were never originally meant to be violent, vicious dogs, and the media has really, really overplayed that. So if you're considering getting a pit bull, and you're considering getting it because you think it's a big, tough dog, you'd probably be better off with a Chihuahua in your living room. As a vet tech, the animal hospitals that I've worked in, we've never had a pit bull bite, in any of them in the history of the clinic being opened. So we've had bites by multiple other breeds. This breed just isn't one of those breeds. With this backyard breeding issue, and let me explain a little bit what a backyard breeder is if you don't know. Backyard breeder is somebody who has 2 pit bulls, whether they be what they think to be show quality, not show quality, registered, not registered, and they breed them to have puppies to sell. They don't do any kind of health testing. They don't do any kind of temperament testing. They don't do any kind of pedigree research to make sure that the dogs are going to be a compatible match, that there's no genetic defects along the pedigree and things like that. These breeders pretty much are breeding to try to get a certain color, a certain size, things like that. There is not hardly enough reputable breeders out there. I'd say that you might find 1 in 5,000 pit bull breeders, and that's just off the top of my head. That's not an actual statistic, that may be reputable, who does the proper health testing, who's getting their dogs inspected, who's showing them and bringing home the ribbons and doing things like that to prove that their dog is breeding quality. I personally believe that we need to have a halt on all pit bull breeding until we can get the overpopulation of shelters, the strays, the crime under control, because between dog fighting and shelter overpopulations, we're not far from the government putting a halt on this breed altogether. And if you truly, truly, truly love these dogs, like so many of you I hear every single day tell me that you love these dogs, then you have to understand it is so important for you to stand up, to spay and neuter your dog, to make sure that it's not out there making other puppies, to make sure that you're not creating more puppies that will eventually one day end up in the shelter. I mean, if you go and you just see the looks on these dogs' faces at your local animal shelter, you will understand that this is serious. These dogs didn't do anything to deserve to be in these shelters. They were just bred by somebody because they were unneeded, and this person wanted to make money. They wanted to make pretty puppies for their friends, things like that. I don't mean to rant, but I feel really, really strongly about this. There's too much breeding going on. I think that the state should make it illegal to own an unspayed or unneutered pit bull unless you have a qualifying breeder's license. And I think it should be really, really, really tough to get one of those. If not, there shouldn't be any breeding at all at this current point in time. I know that you do have to have breeders to keep the breed alive, but only the people who understand what that entails and have the financial stability to do that and know how to do it responsibly. These people who breed one litter after the other, they're overbreeding their females, and it's so sad. These puppies have things like parvo. They're not getting properly vaccinated. They're having hip dysplasia, shoulder dysplasia, bad hearts, hair lips, all kinds of things. So it's really important that we do these things. And I'm going to go, as I do my blogs every week, into a different specific thing regarding pit bulls. I'm going to do their history. I'm going to do more about backyard breeders. I'm going to focus on training and rehabilitation because I myself have seen every side of this, and I do cross posting, and I'm an advocate, and I'm out there and I'm trying to find dogs homes, and I'm raising money, and we're trying to get bills passed and signing petitions and just generally spreading the word. I personally ran Pit Bull Rescue for almost 4 years, and I've done training and rehabilitation. I've got a lot of experience with these dogs for the last 10 years. So I've got quite a big, vast knowledge. I used to give Pit Bull education classes. So if you want to comment a question down below the video, I will be glad to answer it on next week's segment. If you want to send me a question, if you have a dog that needs help or you're interested in adopting, every week I'm actually going to do a highlight on a shelter or rescue organization. This week I don't have one. It's my first blog, so I would just say if you're looking for a pit bull, Google Pit Bull Rescue. Make sure you looking for somebody that's 501c3 certified. That means they have their nonprofit status, or go to your local shelter. Local shelters will always have pit bulls, and they're always going to be a dog that you can so easily fall in love with. I'm also going to be highlighting one dog per week that's on our adoptable list, and it's going to be dogs from across the country. This week I'm actually going to start with a dog that is one that I'm personally invested in. His name is Kimbo. He's a 2-year-old male pit bull. This is his picture. He's a very, very handsome, sweet boy. He's actually a very urgent case, as his current foster is not going to be able to hold on to him for very much longer. He's already sponsored for his neuter and shots. He is located here in central Indiana, near Indianapolis. So if you are looking for a pit bull and you want to adopt, this guy is a huge sweetheart, and he really, really, really needs a good home. Again, this is Kimbo. He's 2 years old. He's house trained, and as far as we know, he's doesn't seem to be too bad with dogs, but I'd probably recommend he goes to a home with either a female or a younger dog. If you have questions about Kimbo, comment below or email me. There should be a message tab here on YouTube. Or you can get a hold of me through the group Saving Pit Bulls on Facebook. This is how it's spelled. It is a private group. We do not allow breeders, puppy profiteers, anybody selling dogs, things like that. It is for people who are trying to save the breed, doing rescues, fosters, cross-posting, advocacy, publishing spay, neuter, pit bull bills, things like that. That's how you find us on Facebook. It's a private group. Just ask to join. Final little thought on this is do not post a pit bull that you have on Craigslist. The dangers of posting on Craigslist are humongous. There are people on there that are posing as good homes. They're trying to get dogs for fighting rings. They're trying to get dogs they can keep outside in their backyard on a chain. Backyard breeding, puppy mills. The list just goes on and on and on. Craigslist has proven time and time again to be a cesspool for bad homes and bad breeders. Do not purchase the puppy off of Craigslist. The people that use Craigslist they're bad breeders. They're not reputable. They're people that are producing puppies that they don't have a need for. Reputable breeder is only going to breed a litter when they already have homes lined up that are worthy and working class therapy, things like that, pet homes. So Craigslist, stay away. Do not support any sellers on Craigslist. Do not post your dogs on Craigslist. I know it seems very, very, very easy, but Craigslist is bad news. Feel free to comment below. Like I said, I'll answer your questions next week. I'm still trying to decide a good segment for next week. So if you have suggestions or something you'd like to learn about, comment it below and I will be posting next week. You guys have a great week. And remember, rescue.